Welcome back, and now we get into a conversation with the Director General of the Kenya Maritime Authority, and we begin our conversation here, which is on the 8th floor of this ship. The view is quite scenic, and if you're afraid of heights, I'm not too sure you want to come this close. And the DG tells me that there's a hobby he has. Maybe it's a hobby, maybe it's a passion. He'll tell us about it. Robert Njue, thank you for joining us for this conversation. What is the value that we have on our seas, on our waters? Because many people will usually find it to be a very high-level discussion, but we don't actually understand what is the value that is in here.
You see, in our economy, it's so much driven by trade, both export and import. The first thing, export and imports, 80% of the volume of that globally happens through the sea. And 70% of that, in terms of value, is through the sea. So if you look at it then, as a country, most of our goods, export and import, is through the sea. What that means is that our GDP and our economy entirely and more than 80% depend on transportation through the sea. Movement of goods, export and import between different countries and Kenya then determines how the economy of Kenya grows, and two, determines how creation of job happens. And that's why the issue of blue economy then needs to be demystified to the lowest ground level of communities interacting with the sea, interacting with the rates.
Do you feel that, like as Kenyans, we really appreciate the value that is here?
The waters, what they can give is far from being exploited. Look at our fishing industry, for example. Our fishing industry, where we have all the fish, Kenya has all 245 square kilometers of territorial waters. Barely we are actually using less than 2 kilometers of nautical miles of our ocean. Essentially what that means is our marine resources called fisheries is not fully utilized. And we have a full potential in that line, in legal to growth of economy. If we grow that, it can actually inject to the GDP even to more than 500 billion per year. Then for us to appreciate that is to come up with the programs that ensure the local population are empowered to unlock that. We don't also appreciate the diversity of our ocean. If you look at our ocean and what it can give, for example, our ocean has, for example, singulars. Singulars is a diverse area we can farm and then be able to cater for our needs in terms of food security. Our ocean, if you dive below the water, in some areas you can't dive because there are strong currents. These strong currents can be used to generate power. And this power can be part of what we put into our national grid. So when you look at it that way, then we are far from exploiting our natural resources. One of the problems in that is making us is, one, is our frame of mind, even our orientation of our academic programs. The reason is we have been wired as a country to only think terrestrial courses. We will think engineering. When you think of engineering, you will think of motor vehicle engineering or those kind of things. Then we have not, even as a country, yet tapped and made aware that surely you can do marine engineering in mining, in marine areas. It's a time we orientate our mind. The global trend now is towards the blue economy. As a country, we cannot afford to be left behind. So we need light from the grassroots, the rural population that is interacting with the waters, whether the ocean or the rates. Accelerated campaign, accelerated awareness. Then we need policy level. We need policymakers in this country to be aware that our GDP growth has been stretched so much by the terrestrial activities. Climate change has influenced so much agriculture, and we cannot grow our GDP that way. Then we have to orientate our mind, we have to orientate our policies towards the waters. Let us welcome the youth. As they think of courses in university, let them think maritime courses. These jobs are lucrative. And we are telling the youth, please, as you do your courses, as you choose your careers, the current global trend, choose maritime. And we have to bring everybody on board.
What salary are we looking at? Like for someone has become like a fully fledged captain or otherwise?
The salary of a captain of a ship like this will be learning in terms of 700,000 Kenya shillings. That's not small money. Those are lower levels. And the other benefits, here they are mendics.
Yes.
They are nurses. It doesn't mean you just come to a ship to steer a ship. There are people who are cooking. There are people who are serving.
Yes.
There are people who are checking the engine. There are people doing many sorts of things in a ship. So all these are opportunities for jobs. People imagine a ship, they don't even realize a ship is a whole complex house moving around the world with engineers and various workers. Here I want to introduce you the captain of this ship, and we are very grateful to the captain. Thanks so much, Captain. If you can tell us your name.
Kota Salamat.
Salamat.
Hello.
So, Captain is the one who has steered this ship. This is a shipping line from Singapore.
Okay, so we can go in.
This is basically the control room where the ship is being steered. From here, this ship is steered in all international waters.
And this is a very demanding kind of job. The time it takes, the effort. How do we make sure that the human resource aspect is well taken care of? Because in the past we've seen concerns about seafarers. So
in those regulations of labor laws, which are coming up, is trying to cap the salaries issue so that we are sure Kenyans who are being employed by the shipping lines, they get salary that commensurate their skills. There are different levels of skills that are required. As a country, we have a skill gap at the moment. For us to meet this skill gap, we have several things we have to do. One, we have started negotiations with the universities to train not only degree and master's level in maritime, but also the basic courses like coxswains. To achieve that, then we realize some Kenyans really want to do various studies in maritime, but they have no capacity in terms of financial support. So that's why I was saying before that we have started sponsorship of this, and we have finance help, which will make that scheme be more like revolving and will very soon be rolling. By May, we should be rolling that program to support Kenyans who wants to venture into maritime sector.
maybe a quick clarification on the difference between KMA and the Kenya Ports Authority.
The mandate of Kenya Ports Authority is basically to manage the ports. This one, Kisumu, and the one coming up in Lamu. But as an authority, we regulate the whole industry of maritime sector. What that means, even the activities that KPA does in terms of, for example, if they are constructing a port like Lamu, the technical inspection for that port is within KMA. So we get in to regulate certain standards to ensure, one, safety of everybody when it comes to docking in this place. That's why if they are doing a port like Lamu now, one of the issues we look at also, we look at the security issues of the port. So those kind of things we vet and give a certificate to the port. Because once KPA will deal with port operations, KMA deals with the wider scope in the ports and out of the ports and in the deep seas in terms of regulatory mandate. That's why you see our mandate goes up even to training. For example, the people even work in the KPA, for them to do courses, if they have coxswains, those coxswains they will have to go to a school. That school must be accredited by KMA. The course itself, the curriculum, must be vetted by KMA. The certificate must also be given by KMA. So there's a way, we are too different as a regulator because we have too many, you can check, for example, we have fisheries in it, we have Coast Guard in it, we have so many people working within the sector. Then we regulate, and don't forget there's private sector like shipping lines.
Okay, so maybe I think we can go and conclude our conversation as we have something to bite.
Good, good. Now, this is a kitchen area. As I said before, in a ship, you might think this is an hotel, but it's inside the ship where all cooking is done for those people in this ship moving around the world.
You don't have to think about
You don't have to
only
think
hotels.
about hotels. There's a lot of opportunities, even for people doing catering in ships. And you can feel it is properly cooked.
It is.
Professionally cooked.
Quite spicy. I like it. And as we just continue having it, what has the traffic of, say, ships and cargo and been like in the course of the COVID-19 pandemic? Because you know, with the closing of borders, etc., what has it been like?
Definitely, as you are aware, when the COVID started, there was a total disruption of the transport sector globally in the sea. And that affected docking in various ports because of restrictions by various countries. Of course, of late, because of easing and management of COVID globally, what has happened is that we have, and actually from January, we have witnessed an increase in ships that are coming in the port, and that is good for the country.
There has been the concern about the Kenya-Somalia maritime dispute, and there's a session that's coming up on March 15th. What is your stand? Because I know this comes into your territory.
This is something that is being handled by the Minister of Foreign Affairs because it involves two countries, and all the issues that are happening in the various international courts. That one is being handled by the Minister of Foreign Affairs. As to the outcome, we all wait and pray that Kenya wins.
You asked me whether I know how to swim, and you followed by telling me that you're more than just a swimmer.
I have love for waters. That's where I started my career. My career in the field started in the waters. I'm an advanced diver by training, scuba diver. The reason for that is that you cannot talk of the sea and the management of the sea resources. What you have under the water, when you see the water on top, you see the water body. But what is below the sea is even more amazing. Under the water, there are caves. Under the water, there are mountains. Under the water, there are even snakes. And all these are amazing. There are different types of current fish under the water. And these fish swim in masses. And when you are trained in scuba diving, based on your level, why is it necessary? Scale, one, you can save lives. When you are a scuba diver, you can be able to dive and save lives. Two, you can be able to rescue even goons. Three, you can be able to be extremely resourceful when it comes to marine pollution. Our country does not end with the rod. It extends into the sea.
So KTB should move from Tembea, Kenya to Tembea na Ogelea, Kenya.
Tembea under the water.
Thank you very much, Muradiji, for speaking to us on this, very potential field space that has often been seen as a high-level one, but then just bring it down to the Mwananchi space. And now I'll allow you to enjoy your food. I've been enjoying it as you've been speaking, so we can finish our food. We'll take a short break on NTV Weekend Edition. We'll be back with more after this.